It's funny how it's got a pop up, but I can't see you guys first. There you are. How you going?
Perfect. Hey, Avinash.
Hey
Singh.
guys, hey Andreas.
Hey,
Well,
great
Am I
to see you
audible
as
enough?
well.
yeah, I can hear
Sorry?
Okay, very cool. Finally,
Perfect.
we can
So should
join.
we? So is it up and running? The live stream and everything? It looks like it's good to go.
you. Yeah. Let me just
Yeah.
just see what. I'm not sure what it's. I might have skipped like the title of whatever this live session is called. Let me just
Okay.
see if I can find it from my my feed.
Yeah, it just says Peter's Rooms. I don't know if it's just called Peter's Room.
Okay, I
It's
gotta give it a
very
title.
descriptive.
This is a discussion on Transhuman Coin with Immortalists Magazine. It's still working through all these FP tools.
Perfect. And there's chat on the side I see, but I don't find an option to write back. But I guess it's okay. They can just they'll probably communicate with each other then.
Yeah, at least we got that right. Let me just type
Yeah.
in your last name there. Oh, there's Emmanuel. How you going? You found it. Ni hao ma, Peter. Yeah. He's been spending too much time in Chinatown in Sydney. Emmanuel's going to join some meetups soon. All right, so I think I've got a discussion. I have Dr. Avinash, Peter, and Andreas. Great. All right, I think that's it. Save, I think. Should I go live? Here we go. All right, I hope that works. I'm sure we're live already.
Perfect.
What's going on there?
Yeah, we are. I see that
Yeah.
on the comments.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's just get started. You ready to go, both of you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, that is
Perfect. Yeah. So welcome to a new Immortalists Magazine interview with Peter Singh and Dr. Avinash Singh from the Transhuman Coin management team. Those are two fascinating transhumanists, and Peter Singh is a co-founder of Transhumanism Australia and a faculty at Singularity University and an executive at the Science Party Australia. And then we have Dr. Avinash Singh, who is an Australian Research Council postdoctoral research fellow at the Australian Artificial Intelligence and a founder of the Indian Future Society. And he's also a member of Transhumanism Australia and actively promotes and advocates for transhumanism. And yeah, gets a lot of people interested in the field. So does that cover you both well enough for now, or is there anything else that you want to add here from the get-go?
Up to you first, Avinash. I'm still editing the post.
well. Thank you for thank you for nice introduction, Andreas. That's you already covered it pretty much. So well, Peter, you should add more.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be part of this as well. And I'm a big fan of Immortalists Magazine. You guys are doing such an amazing job. It feels such high sort of quality and bringing about the right stories that's happening in the transhumanist movement all around the world. And he seems to just be always on top of it. So I don't know how you guys keep up with all this acceleration in the technology, as well as in the community as well.
For sure, yeah, I really appreciate that. But yeah, there's definitely just happening so much all the time. So it does exactly just require a lot of time to just keep top of things. And you as well, Peter, on for Transhumanism Australia and all that. Like you're also really on top of so many things. So like yeah, you do provide so many valuable things as well for all of us. So yeah, thank you for that as well. And yeah. Maybe we should just get started with how you just got inspired to create the transhuman coin in the first place.
Yeah, well, it's actually all started out with Dr. Charles in South Africa. So Dr. Charles and Jenny, she's one of the developers and the admin team. So they sort of initially thought, okay, this transhumanism movement, it's starting to grow in Africa. And at the same time, there was a sort of quiet cryptocurrency revolution over there. So, the African nation has always been, the population has always been quite mobile first in terms of, not having a bank account. And then what happened with cryptocurrency is that they went crypto first after mobile banking. Because there's a lot of inflation in countries like Nigeria with 16% annualized inflation, and they didn't know where to keep their money that could continue to be a store of value. And that's what we've seen Bitcoin as a good hedge against inflation. At the same time, Charles was like, look, we want to push transhumanism all throughout Africa, especially, they were currently, initially called a Christian nation with a lot of those missionaries and things like that. So he used to be a pastor over there. And, he was spreading the good word, but then he came across science and technology and he realized that that was what was needed during COVID, because he needed people to accept science and the technologies that are available to help people stay alive, to take mRNA and the CRISPR gene editing. These technologies will keep us going for longer and healthier lives. But the immediate need of, taking the vaccine for COVID, I think that was actually a really good way to actually make sure that people understand how to think critically, to understand how science works, and to really look after themselves in that time of the pandemic. So it was great timing. So it was a combination of cryptocurrency and transhumanism, and Singularity University as well. We've got a presence in South Africa with Exponential Africa. So I think just together, Transhuman Coin just made a sense, because now people can not only have an economic incentive to store their value and drive the price through that, but also buy into transhumanism as a movement that way.
Awesome. I really like that a lot. Yeah, and like it's also great that you kind of just combine this whole reach of Africa and really focused on that to just try to drive up the whole movement, and like it's crazy how fast the things are growing, and like, is it like in Nigeria is like 30% or something, or like you're using crypto, or like how many people are using it there?
Yeah, 32%. This is insane. Like, it just feels like
Wow.
they've got their own digital currency issued by the government, the e-Naira. It's one of the first central bank digital currencies that are out there. I mean, they haven't gone as far as, say, El Salvador to treat Bitcoin as, fiat legal tender, but they're pretty close. I mean, China's testing out their central bank digital currency as well for the Beijing Olympics. That'll be the official launch. But it really creates that on-ramp into cryptocurrency, because if the government provides you with, a digital wallet, digital currency wallet, that can then swap out to other cryptocurrencies, where they're allowed, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and it's going to be really exciting to see where it all leads, and it's great that you've been creating this initiative to really help spread the movement and for just get people excited, because it's money, and people love money, so yeah,
Yeah.
it can definitely help spread the awareness. That's really exciting.
And it's happening in India as well, right, Avinash?
Yeah, it is. I think pretty much similar status as everywhere else. I mean, there's lots of things happening in India. I mean, for example, in Australia recently, when I'm hearing, well, I'm originally from India. I mean, recently moved, not recently, it's already being 5 years, moved to Australia. But so I'm like a half in India, half in Australia now, running India Future Society. And for cryptocurrency, lots of things happening in India. It's a crazy, I would say. I mean, people are interested in, lots of policies coming in from government side, lots of new currency coming in, and TSC opening at this moment. I mean, that's just best thing, because like you Andreas just talking about, when you talk about bit of money involvement with transhumanism initiative, I think that's a perfect combination, because you need something to drive people, right? And that's just a kind of just nice enough force to drive people, attract people for transhumanist movement. And that's perfect. And I'm just talking about Australia. I mean, I'm talking about Commonwealth Bank, who's kind of introducing cryptocurrency. I'm talking about in general, but that's just perfect timing for transhuman coin. when this kind of initiative, like a Commonwealth Bank, which is one of the largest bank in Australia, maybe even in one of the biggest in Asia Pacific region, right? And when they put this kind of, I mean, they are not just adding this kind of feature in their application and the bank system, but kind of spreading a straight away awareness with some big commercial entity. And that's gonna go get straight to a transhuman coin in a way, I believe so.
Totally.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for Peter to bring me in this TSC transhuman coin initiative, or I should say a venture. and I really believe in that, and of course running with that transhuman initiative from long time. This is just a right kind of initiative with the right kind of mixture what we just needed. So it's just the right timing, right information, right stuff in there, right combination of ingredient to just drive the transhumanism. So I'm glad to be here with transhuman coin.
Yeah, it's an honor and pleasure to have
Perfect.
you, Dr. Avinash. Dr. Avinash is, he's an expert in the brain-computer interface space, and that is the stuff that I've been passionate about, all throughout history in terms of where I want transhumanism to be, and to have Dr. Avinash in the chair of our scientific advisory board to push the projects into the direction that we want to accelerate to with transhumanism. Yeah, I just can't think of anyone better than him. So it's just amazing to have him on board.
Well,
With the
that's an
Immortalists
honor.
Magazine.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, so
That's really honor. Thank you, Peter.
Totally. Yeah. That's really exciting when everything can just kind of be in line in terms of where you want people to just become aware of the things
Yeah.
and then just align the coin and the movement and everything just towards how things could just be ideal for a lot of people. So that's really exciting. So like Avinash, like are you currently just like in India or kind of like traveling between India and Australia like during COVID? Like how does all that work in terms of transhumanism, Australia and everything? Like it must be kind of difficult right now.
I'm not traveling up and down, definitely.
Okay,
I'm
makes
currently, you
sense.
can say I'm based in Australia at this moment. My bread and butter in Australia, so I'm here. uh, but of course, so I'm full time in the job in Australia. I'm a researcher in, like you say, University of Technology, Sydney, Australian Artificial Intelligence Institute, where we do lots of interesting stuff. That is, I think that's very interesting. I mean, at least it's one of the world. I would not say word best institute, but one of the great. We are doing pretty great in our institute research, and like Peter just mentioned, my specific expertise is brain-computer interface, where we develop BCI devices. I'm doing this from since last 6 to 7 years, and what we do, my why I'm in BCI. That's actually an interesting story. The reason is transhumanism. Why I'm in the BCI. When I first met what we call him first cyborg, is a professor Kevin Warwick from University of Reading, UK. And first time I met him, I mean, he's a kind of inspiration for him. For me, he implanted certain devices. I'm talking about uh, 2012 or 2013, and I met him, and I said, "Oh wow, that's," and he's controlling things with his just arm, reading and writing. That's like ages ago, and he published a book called First Cyborg or Cyborg. This is the one of the first book known in this field, which is very technical, not just a fiction, and that's gave me inspiration of BCI, and of course. The big contribution goes to a matrix or neuromancer, I should say.
Yeah.
Where I get this inspiration, and that's why I jump in this field, learning about human brain, how to access the brain. Because for me, as a transhumanism, brain is one of the most important entity in our whole body, right? It's pretty much that's what we are. Remove the body, put the brain in a robotic body, maybe still we are what we are, because it's all
Yeah,
about
exactly.
personalities and memories, right? Of course, there's experience involved, touch involved, but that can be manipulated as long as you have your memory, you have your personality, and that's how I am in transhumanism. And And I connected with the word itself maybe later on, but I'm in this journey already started while ago. So what I'm trying to say, so yeah, based in Australia, and that's my expertise. I'm do research in BCI. We develop different kind of BCI. Either it's a invasive, you implant something in your brain, or non-invasive, where I am more focused on, so that it become more, easily accessible to anyone without harming anyone. That's also always one of biggest goal of research for anything. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do this kind of research. We put this research in open public so people can read and recreate the things. So that's also a kind of a transhumanist purpose. We try to democratize the technology, put the technology in everyone's hand rather than, just rich have access of that. That's always a question we ask us. So that's my expertise, and that's where I comes in. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds really good and really interesting, and some really important work for all of us. And it's also just like when you're really immersed in the whole movement, like it's just incredible how far everything can just go. Like you just easily become really excited about the future when people are not just kind of staying in the present and don't really realize what's out there. But when you actually discover all that is to come, it's just so exciting to be a part of, I'd say.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
Exactly.
There's just so many sensory inputs. So I was just listening to Lex Friedman and Stephen Wolfram, and he was talking about his theory of everything about the universe, right? So he's thinking rather than relying on the general relativity and quantum mechanics that they're trying to resolve right now, Stephen Wolfram is trying to look at it through these hypergraphs, right? But the thing is, with consciousness, people keep asking about a position on what is consciousness. And he actually thinks that consciousness is a level down below intelligence, because consciousness is our sort of recollection of a string of knitting together of the past, right? So like a single thread of the past. Whereas quantum mechanics and this sort of hypergraph he's got of the universe is like multi-dimensional, and it takes into account all the probabilities in quantum mechanics, and we're just threading this one thin line, right? And it's available to all sort of conscious creatures, right? Whereas intelligence is kind of like computation, is the ability to aggregate more and more computation to produce it. And so like what I'm really interested in seeing with brain computer interfaces is how we can start unraveling that mystery of consciousness, and also seeing what that means for intelligence on that higher level. Because I think once we demystify this whole consciousness thing, and we start embedding and codifying that, and then the intelligence component, and embedding that in the universe, I think that's going to be really interesting, and how where future intelligences will also go as well. So yeah, bit deep and out there, but yeah, that's just from my recollections of the 4-hour podcast I just listened to. So that's sort of still in the back of my head at the moment.
Interesting. Yeah, it's important to just always just keep on learning and keep on staying interested in new things, to just really just discover what's out there. And yeah, it is really interesting that like this whole distinction between the two, and also like while you sleep, like you're just uncovering all kinds of things that might or could happen or have happened, or just signs. Like it's really interesting how it all works. And yeah, it's going to be exciting to see when it's possible to really dive really deep into it and just figure out how all these different thoughts and subconscious things just really get together and just create all these thoughts that we actually have on a daily basis and just come and go. It's going to be really
Yeah.
interesting to see how it all leads. So yeah,
Yeah, and our
there's so
memory of
much
it is
out
just like
there.
one linear collection of all the things that happen. It never sort of takes into account all the perspective that happens to you, right? It's like you're only measuring what you're perceiving in that point in time in one stream. But yeah, it's still stuck in my head. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
lots of things to explore. Yeah.
yeah,
Getting
it is really interesting, and it kind of also goes back to this whole thing of like when you read or watch something for the first time, then it might be totally different than when going through it a third or a second time. So like you might just perceive the thing like in a completely
differently.
different way, like considering how you feel at a given moment and what you know, and like there's just so many factors just always will just come in. So yeah, it's really interesting how all these things can just change over time and just will never just be stagnant and just always change.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
brain is like one of the most amazing organ, right? I mean, in science world, we always say there's only two most exciting discovery to make. Is one is a neuroscience, which is about brain, and other is in a space, which is a vast space out there. We don't know anything about. The same goes to brain. How does it work? What's going on? Sometimes a quantum theory is there. Sometimes a basic neuroscience theory is there. Just sometimes basic cell theory is there. Consciousness, intelligence. I mean, there's so many things and there's a yet to be understand and maybe that's the reason why I still attract people like me to go and develop things like a BCI, keep learning, keep understanding what's going on with the brain. And and that's interesting. Some they're saying that, I mean, we are saying brain is an amazing organ, right? But these thoughts coming from the brain itself, which make you say that I am the amazing, right? My brain is amazing. Brain makes you say that. So it's, yeah, it's amazing organ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it,
for transhumanism movement, I think when especially when you talk about singularity, I mean, my definition of singularity is when you are able to merge machine and human together, in the singular form where biological and synthetic organs become one. Same goes to brain. So understanding brain is super important. I mean, we are already able to have synthetic organ replacement, except the brain part. That's where we are bit still uh, lacking the knowledge that we can't able to replace. But I'm looking for the future where you can, I forget things a lot. I want a permanent memory, one nice Samsung drive somewhere embedded in brain where I can store additional information very precisely. That kind of future. Not just that, a digital brain or what we call mind uploading, that kind of future.
Mm.
And that's what we have a goal as a transhumanist. And of course, the goal is not to achieve that only. Goal is to achieve this kind of possibility so that you can explore more. I always think when you have digital mind uploading kind of possibility, you can explore the space, vast space. Maybe your possibility to meet some more civilization out there waiting for us, or they are coming toward us. I don't know. Maybe they're hostile. That's another story. I'm not talking about that. You
You
can
get to
live
dream the
forever.
physics.
Well, that's well, that for that we can think about later. But at least we explore it. We just explore infinitely. Just keep going, keep going, keep going in the space, deep space somewhere. It's only possible when we are able to exceed the limit what we have as a human currently, right? Otherwise
Mm.
impossible. We don't know about our earth itself. I mean deep dive in the sea, we have no idea what's there. There's lots of things is not touched in there. Why? Because neither human neither technology is let us go that deep. But how about we just have such kind of control that we can manipulate our senses, our body, so that it can able to handle that deep pressure on the body, so not crushing it, but we can just keep swimming, dive in the sea. And you know transhumanism again able to solve the problem like a space problem. When I say space problem, like the population is just keep increasing. If we are able to live in the water like a fish, I don't know, it's a perfect possibility. So this is bit fictional, of course, science fiction kind of thing I'm talking about, but these are the possibility possible with the transhumanism ideas. I think it may sound a bit radical in some sense, but it's not that radical. It's just it, the the purpose of transhumanism somehow give you that kind of control that you can do that. Not necessarily you misuse it or do something else, but let you allow to do that. Like now technology allow us to call anywhere and anyone anywhere in the world, right? Just using Facebook or phone. That kind of accessibility we are looking for transhumanism. and and transhuman coin is a that's just great initiative in this case, which kind of able to attract these ideas more from people who are which seeing this as a more far-fetched future, but but just make these two things together, putting that younger generation, maybe hopefully that's a goal, that putting this younger generation together and lots of other things, and more people get involved, more diversity brings more ideas, more approaches. And that's one of the fundamental goal, I believe, with the transhuman coin, right? I think Peter can say more on that.
Well, these are the sort of projects we want to fund, right? So we want to accelerate this because we
Exactly.
want to do it within our lifetimes, but also make sure that that can also be shared with everyone around the world. The challenges we're having is that, with science, it usually goes from, very early stage R&D where there's no sort of commercialization opportunities as yet. There's no sort of pathway to commercialization. But we know the end result of what happens if you have a brain computer interface. Like that is, when Steve Jobs talks about putting your mind on a bicycle, right? The bicycle for your mind. The brain computer interface is putting your mind on a rocket, right? And just going up throughout the universe. It is rocket fuel in terms of what you can do, because you're not longer limited by the human condition, by one brain, by your meat, right? You are able to, expand your mind literally. So I think there's a huge sort of addressable market there. It's just how we get there, and it's just trying to cross the chasm, kind of like with how cryptocurrency has initially with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's now crossed the chasm to mainstream, and we want Transhuman Coin to do the same for these transhuman projects. So one of the first impacts that we've had so far, the project's only about 2.5 months old, right? In terms of when we first really launched it with Avinash and Charles and sort of the team. We've already sort of donated 10 million transhuman coin to lifespan.io. They're the crowdfunding platform for longevity projects. So that's the super longevity pillar of transhumanism. So now, we're exploring how we actually make an impact on the super intelligence pillar, and also around, a way to, through our scientific advisory board, which also now includes Natasha Vidamore. Such an honor to have her on the board, with also a sort of guests like David Wood from the London Futurists. So we have sort of an amazing team that can help come up with that evaluation criteria on these projects. So how do we assess, which projects are scientifically valid, and which ones could potentially be commercially viable through a path that we could help them along with the funding. And also, what's the sort of transhuman coin being an annual donation, we can assess that the organizations and the projects that they're working on can potentially just hold transhuman coin on their balance sheet, because they can use that as leverage for loans, for increasing their asset values, kind of like how Bitcoin is being held on Tesla, and how Dogecoin's been held by SpaceX now. So it's just interesting that these meme coins now as well, like you got originally it was Dogecoin, you got Shiba Inu, you got Floki, Front Puppy, Dogelon Mars, all those dog coins. They have they're in the top 10 market values of cryptocurrency, a $3 trillion industry. And why don't we have transhuman coin that's dedicated to the transhumanism movement, to be up there with a true mission to accelerate these transhuman projects? Because all the other dog coins were indirectly, I guess, having an impact. Dogecoin, Dogecoin having Elon Musk on board. You got Shiba Inu, where Vitalik donated that to the Indian COVID relief fund. And also he donated Dogelon Mars to Methuselah Foundation, who are now the stewards of Dogelon Mars. So they're trying to put them on the moon with some experiments on longevity. So it's just like, it's a crazy world how things happen. It's just, this is actually how we can do it in a way that can make a real impact.
Totally. Yeah, and it is indeed crazy how all these meme tokens just grown so big, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they can actually last, or if it's just a phase. But yeah, like focusing on some having a real impact, and really supporting work to really just change humanity for the better can just create some everlasting progress. So yeah, like I saw that you had this goal of funding this research center studying transhumanism. So like, is that like the end goal that it all leads to, that you kind of want to research transhumanism there, or do you have anything else in mind beyond that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Go,
Well,
Avinash.
so I think apart from funding research for transhumanism project, which we are still working out some regulation, like Peter is saying, we are in, I mean, ultimate goal is somehow to creating a decentralized labs around the world with transhuman coin. And when I say decentralized lab, because following the same concept of cryptocurrency, I said it should be decentralized and everyone can have the research. It could be in the digital world. I don't know, meta universe, like nowadays we're talking a lot, or something somewhere in the corner of somewhere in the world where lots of accessibility is not exist, but there's still, we are sending him or her resources that they can for keep continue the research in the direction of supporting transhumanism idea. So that's the ultimate goal, right, Peter? Am I right?
Exactly. You know, you see Decentraland, that's, you know, it's just gone through the roof when the announcement of Facebook Meta, because no one wants a centralized version of the metaverse. They want a decentralized version. And same with labs. You know, if you get stuck with one central institution, that might hinder your ability to innovate and make that available to everyone in terms of the research outcomes. So we want these decentralized labs, governed by decentralized organizations, autonomous organizations, to enable this research, and that'll enable, you know, information sharing, collaboration, and funded by the community that it's impacting, which hopefully will be every single person on the planet. And that's where we were going with Transhuman Coin, because Transhuman Coin has a maximum supply of 7 billion transhuman coins, and we want every single person on the planet to be holding transhuman coin so that they can fund this economy of this decentralized transhumanism movement. So yeah, and yeah, it's just great to see the support we've been getting. I mean, we had our first meetup in Sydney this week on Thursday. It was just great to see the local fintech and blockchain supporters and the transhumanist community here in Sydney all come out, and you know, it's so great to be out again just to see their faces. And we'll do another one so Avinash can come along. He wasn't feeling too well, but we've also had just
Exactly.
a quick launch as well of our bounty campaign. So you know, we're finally starting to get our marketing accelerated, and we've just announced that there's up to $15,000 in US of transhuman coin that's up for grabs over the next 4 weeks. Every week, there will be essentially a phases approach of sharing transhuman coin on Twitter and Facebook and writing articles on YouTube, and you'll get a chance to enter. So yeah, check out the Telegram group that we have, which is t.me/buy transhuman coin. Yeah, and hopefully people can join and check out some cool ways to enter and support transhuman coin as well.
Cool.
Exactly.
That sounds good. Yeah, and I saw also that you had some different NFTs that you're planning to launch on the PancakeSwap NFT marketplace. So like, why did you choose that instead of things like OpenSea or creating your own marketplace, or what actually landed you on the PancakeSwap NFT marketplace?
Yeah, it's a good point. You know, we started out on the Binance Smart Chain, and you know, it's the minimum viable product of you know, the initial token. We plan to go on Ethereum 2.0 as well, and Cardano, and also on Solana and the modern blockchains, and become a multi-chain blockchain crypto token. But yeah, we were starting out with Binance Smart Chain, so we want to make it really easy for people to swap from Binance Coin to Transhuman Coin. So the best way to do that is to actually get them onto an NFT marketplace that's on the Binance Smart Chain. So yeah, the initial launch of the I'm not sure if I can share my screen, but yeah, this is the artwork from Cy Gorman. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. You know, it's worth a try, right? If it doesn't work, that's okay.
Well,
You guys see that okay?
it says share your screen down in the left corner. Maybe if you press
Is
that
that
one.
better?
I don't know if you have the
Yeah,
button.
that's it. Yeah, so yeah, if you guys can see that, that's like the, yeah, I think I can see the stream. Yeah, so this is
Not yet.
the Transhuman Coin NFT collection, and that's going to be initially on a website. So we're going to be able to mint directly on the website onto the Binance Smart Chain, and this is to essentially be accepting Binance Coin initially to mint on the Binance Smart Chain. And once you do that, you can also list that onto a secondary market, which is the Pancake Swap. So yeah, once you've minted your, this is going to be your first 500 collections, so varying in rarity, and it's the NASA. So it's sort of like you can see the super intelligence. Also, it looks like NASA, right, with the astronauts. And we'll have some Pancake Swap bunnies as well, because it's going to be on the secondary market of Pancake Swap. But yeah, you'll be able to essentially mint on Binance Smart Chain just through the website, just our launch website on NFT. We'll be launching that shortly. We'll be announcing the launch date once we catch up with the team this weekend. And then, yeah, you'll be able to then sell it on Pancake Swap. So that way, once you're there, you have your Binance coin, so you'll be able to swap it to Transhuman Coin really easily. And the reason why we want to do this initially is so that we can give the artists a voice and bring out transhumanism artwork and be able to help monetize those for them. So 70% of the proceeds will go back to the artists. So initially, when you're minting it, that's going to all go into Transhuman Coin. So you buy it in Binance Coin. We'll use those proceeds to buy Transhuman Coin, and then 70% will go to the artists. 30% will go to continual marketing and the dev wallet to ensure we got all the code going for the future runs of these artworks and the code base. So Bo here has been responsible for the contract of these NFTs, the smart contracts, and also Cy Gorman. You can see he works at the RMIT in Melbourne, so he's doing digital media there. Also, he's the founder of Neurobody. Yes, lots of metaverse work that's happening in the background here. Let me
And
just share
hopefully
my
some
screen.
NFTs from the brain signal as well. Right, Peter?
Yeah, that's right. Can you guys see this okay? Yeah, so yeah, brain
Yeah,
signals as well.
this
That's right. So this is
Oh,
the
now I can
NASA
see that.
collection. This is Bo. This is Psy. This is the Pancake Swap as a secondary listing. And yeah, we're going to be able to have some utility behind this initial drop as well, hoping to enable them to use this as a pass across all the technology and transhumanist conferences. Yeah, so we launched this, announced this at Transvision in Madrid, and hopefully we'll, for the next RAD festival at Singularity University as well, be able to launch those. But yeah, lots of ideas as well for the future drops. So yeah, with Avinash talking about the brain-computer interface brainwaves ones.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And not just I also want to add here, because we are still in very early stage of discussion. So transhumanism in general is still a bit far away when you talk about very academic word, right? I mean, those very core academic words still, don't want to, they are interested in the idea, they like the ideas, but they are still far, far, far away. And their goal is never directly connect with these two things. And we're also thinking, also in the discussion, that how we can bring a very core research people, research scientists, and transhumanism idea and THC, and put them together in somehow. How we can do that, we are also trying to discuss that. Yeah, please, Peter.
Yeah, exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's some pretty cool work that you've already been doing in terms of the NFTs. I'd say like these two NFTs that you just have up on the screen here look pretty good, I'd say. And yeah, it's so like you already got some great progress on that. And so like is all the artwork then coming from the community, or like what's your plan in terms of growing that over time?
Yeah. So the initial one that you saw earlier, this is from Psy, and this is the algorithmically driven one. That's a 500 drop. Yeah, and then there's the community ones that we've been getting hundreds of as well. But this is a really special, which I wanted to show to the team, which is Jugnu in India, and she's just an amazing artist into the cyberpunk space, and you can see the sort of quality in art and the talent she's got. So we really wanted to bring that out to the community and share this amazing work that she's done. And hopefully that'll come out in the NFT marketplace as well. So our roadmap as well, in terms of not just these NFTs and the basic utility of using them as conference passes, we want to enable this to be future in terms of the future of things like play to earn in the metaverse. These NFTs, the contract itself can point to not just JPEGs, right? They could also point to, digital 3D artwork, and also avatars, and also digital clothing, kind of like what you see in Decentraland. So this is sort of the starting point, and where we actually build this into the metaverse is things that your digital human will essentially be able to share, with the transhumanist community, kind of like in Second Life. But also the play to earn aspect, we want to be able to do that to help fund the research. Because if you think about how researchers are currently, remunerated, it's through grants by government. And because, that could potentially lock them in for too long, and also in terms of the focus they have to have in a specific project that might not be impacting as much as some others, we want to decentralize all of that to enable future researchers to work on things that they feel they're passionate about, but also that'll have the biggest impact on, say, the longevity space for brain-computer interfaces. So NFTs is a sort of an enabler of financial freedom, but also a way to help commercialize those research in the future as well. And that's what that Transhuman D Center virtual lab will sort of correlate with, this sort of work with NFTs. There's another organization we're currently exploring collaborations with, which is Vita DAO. And the way they've structured their DAO is that you can create an NFT out of your IP. So this is actual commercial IP into the research that you put in. And that research IP, once commercialized and has a sort of liquidity event in terms of being sold to a company that spins out into a proper, say a big pharma, that then creates the rewards to the underlying investors into Vita DAO, for example. So that's sort of the mechanism we really want to partner with in terms of where that roadmap goes. Obviously, that's a future state. We want to become the meme token of transhumanism first to get that sort of momentum and share the sort of marketing and also awareness of transhumanism through a transhuman coin. But I see that in the future, there's so much that we could do to do that collaboration. So this is what I meant by those multi-chain partnerships and the crypto community collaborations we could do. Currently on the Binance Smart Chain with Ethereum 2.0, also Vita DAO, Cardano, and SingularityNet from Ben Goertzel, and Pulse Chain with Richard Hart, and Proof of Humanity to even implement a UBI, which is the super well-being pillar, so that no one gets left behind, and we can ensure that we can get a dividend out of the automations and the singularity that's about to come as well. But yeah, this is there's a lot of things, right? There's the spatial NFT gallery that we've already set up, so you actually can visit this right now to have a virtual reality view of all the transhuman coin NFTs that are going to be coming out. So you can see Jugnu's artwork back here in the sections from the community. We've got the I HODL transhuman coin artworks from all the 3,000 hodlers that are currently holders of transhuman coin. So we've got them to take a photo of themselves and put it into this photo frame with I HODL transhuman coin and share it in their socials. And also there's also going to be a whole bunch of memes as well in the area at the back with all the things we've generated with the deep faces. And in terms of utility, we're also including an e-commerce functionality. So this is what Charles owns, Sahara Skills, which is the freelancer.com or the fiverr.com of Africa. And he's going to enable that to accept transhuman coins so you can pay for services and freelancers in Africa. And also going to convert it into an e-commerce store where you can sell merch like, the transhumanist books that are out, whether it's NMN and other drugs that you could take to help slow down your aging, and also merch, t-shirts and other things like that. So yeah, it's just building in utility for transhuman coin for the community, and that way we can have our own economy going for transhumanism.
Sounds really good. Yeah. So like, are you also like to just keep on growing exponentially? Are you also implementing different incentives like staking or anything else to like hold on to the tokens or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. And also, we didn't explain the tokenomics as well. So, in terms of the tokenomics, by holding Transhuman Coin, you actually automatically sort of stake in a sense, because every transaction that happens, it's kind of like a VAT tax, where 2% goes to the existing holders based on how much they hold. So 2% of the total transactional value, say you spend $1,000, someone buys $1,000 of Transhuman Coin. Well, yeah, $20 of that essentially goes to the existing, distributed out to the existing holders, and that includes the Transhuman Fund wallet. So that's actually how we, accumulate budget to allocate to those transhuman projects like Lifespan.io and other transhuman projects that would be in the pipeline. And 2% goes to the liquidity pool, so that ensure that people can continue to buy and sell a transhuman coin, and that's 100% locked. So there's no sort of risk of rug pulls that you might have seen, something like Squid Game, that was really bad for the crypto community, like that had no locked liquidity and they weren't even sharing the right code. So ours is publicly available on the verified smart contract on Binance Smart Chain, and the liquidity is 100% locked. And 2% goes to the marketing wallet. And also on CoinsBit, CoinsBit is a centralized exchange, and you can actually go to CoinsBit right now, and you can, on top of what you can currently do with the stakings, you can actually stake your Transhuman Coin as well. So CoinsBit is a centralized exchange based in Europe. And yeah, so what you could do is just you have to go through KYC, know your customer, so you have to onboard onto that centralized exchange. But once you're in, you can actually stake your Transhuman Coin on CoinsBit to get additional returns. I think it's like per month, it's like 1.2%. So annualize that, it's actually probably going to be higher than the 2% return that you get from your the reflection of the holders. So yeah, you actually get probably more than just holding your Transhuman Coin in MetaMask or Trust Wallet or something like that. But I think people still prefer using decentralized exchanges and methods, because with centralized exchanges, you don't know when that exchange might be hacked, or it's not sort of, it doesn't give you as much assurance in terms of what you can be doing. But also with decentralized methods, you might lose your private keys, or you might lose your seed phrase, right? So there's a sort of a balance between that too as well.
Totally. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, and it is definitely important to just figure out some different methods to just make sure that it just keeps growing and just can just help a lot of people over time. So figuring out different ways to just ensure that the community follows along, and just spreading it through different platforms definitely help out a lot. So that's sounds good that you're pursuing different options there, and you're really engaging with the community and all that. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, thanks, Andreas. Yeah, we're trying to spread the community. I skipped a few slides, in terms of the memes that we got up there on social. So you guys can check that out. Just use hashtag Transhuman Coin. You might be able to see some of the memes. There's been a lot more since I've made these slides. So, but yeah, just want to do a shout out for all the Transhuman Coin holders out there as well. This is only volume 1. We've already got 2 other volumes. I've still got to hit send on the 3rd volume, but yeah, there's just thank you to the transhumanist community who've been so supportive of us, and check out the Telegram. It's a pleasure to read all the messages that comes out every day to support the project.
Cool. Yeah. So I just want to hear, like, what are your thoughts on immortality? Do you actually think it can be achieved, and do you want it to be achieved, both of you?
Well, that's a big question, and
It is.
I think question is more of do we want to have a possibility to being immortal or not? And other day we are discussing that with the Peter, that we want to have a possibility that we can live as long as we want. You can call it immortality. And when we get bored, we just stop living, or we just reset ourselves to have experience again, refresh to ourselves. So yes, in the short answer, yes. And the second question, if it's possible, well, I would say yes, possible, but maybe gonna take a bit more time than expected. I mean, for example, my personal work in the BCI, where I always project digital immortality, where you able to digitally keep your brain in somewhere in synthetic chip or synthetic organ or in the computer, and basically you can live there as long as you want, and not just can live there, you can transfer from one place to another, or even can create a copy if the consciousness is not a problem, which is still a question there. And you can put your body and transfer to another physical body. Maybe hopefully in the future we can print a body, and we just transfer ourselves into a new freshly minted body there. So this kind of possibility is there. And but how far we are, of course we are pretty far. But in terms of digital immortality, in terms of mind uploading, has been actually quite of work out there already. It's not something new. And there's a quite of work in the field where scientists and researchers are able to emulate the whole brain, but not for human, of course, but for the mouse and for the very smaller fruit fly and this kind of thing. These examples already show that it's possible. Of course, for the human brain, which is much, much more complicated than those fruit fly and the mouse, it takes more time, more technology, more information, and that's where things are heading at this moment. Those research not necessarily target to be a digital immortality, but they are targeting how to completely replicate the brain. And once it's possible, it's also possible to keep your artificial brain or digital brain in somewhere as well. And that's already make you kind of immortal, isn't it? But on the other hand, I think Peter is better to answer that. What we call physical immortality, and there's also lots of work has been happening. Yeah, Peter, what
Yeah,
do you say
I
about
mean,
that?
yeah, that's true. We've seen the amazing work from Dr. David Sinclair and, looking at NAD
Yeah,
plus levels and the precursor to NMNs, and, the impact that is already having in the public, I guess. I think longevity, health spans, is also starting to cross the chasm. We're seeing, Jeff Bezos jump onto Altus Labs. The in terms of the messaging in the public, people are starting to see that reaching longevity escape velocity within their lifetimes is a probability, and it's possible that by the end of the century, I think the aging process will no longer be a thing. It's almost as if people are saying that that's the likely outcome, and it's all about how we get there. And that's why there's been acceleration in the venture capital space on looking at how do we treat the aging process as a disease. How do we look at gene editing or mRNA, these technologies that are actually going to be extending the healthy human lifespan by editing with the very means of what's limiting us to get there. So yeah, it's just amazing to see not only the funding but the public awareness and the discussion around the topic start to shift. I think we've tipped the balance now as well with longevity, which is really exciting. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I mean, it can be seen from last 50 to 60 years ago. The average age was much, much, much lower than what we have now. We almost doubled that age already with that just a progress of medical science. You have cure for this and cure for that, and now we're targeting the major cure for aging itself, like Peter just saying. So if you see that curve, the curve will just keep going up. So, and we are keep increasing our lifespan. So that's definitely I mean, given the current progress of science, given the current progress in machine learning and artificial intelligence, that can replicate the progress, even faster and keep running in the server somewhere. Those things which takes maybe a decade now can be possible a day or two. That kind of replication or permutation and combination of different technique and method. For example, recently Google announced a new company for drug discovery, right? These
Mm.
kind of things with the help of artificial intelligence, the whole progress, just accelerated exponentially. So what it does, which need to be happen in 10 years now, is just a year. And so if you see that way, so seems like within a lifetime, we are going to see the escape velocity, where people can live longer, real long. Uh, Immortality, I would not prefer. I mean, immortality is a good word, but I would say it's more of a longevity or long life, as I mean, where you can live 100 year, 200 year, or even 500 year, even much more longer than what's possible as a currently being as a human, or what I like to call it human 2.0, where we
Yeah,
are heading towards. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And
Totally.
yeah,
So, yeah, science and data already indicate that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not just speculations anymore.
exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, and it does make a lot of sense because like it's really hard to know what the maximum lifespan has been for 100, 200, 300 years ago because people's health span simply weren't that great because people just died of normal diseases today. So
Exactly.
it seems like we have really eradicated a lot of these health inhibiting factors today. So now it's just a question of how far we can actually extend our lifespan because the health span can definitely be improved. That has already been shown a lot. So it's just interesting to see how it all can lead to. And yeah, a lot of people are excited about the possibilities because there's so much progress all the time. So it's really exciting to see where it all leads to.
Yeah, and love
Exactly.
I
what
appreciate your
Avinash was
answers on
saying
that.
around that convergence as well. With AI, with biotech, and what we're seeing now with quantum computing as well. So with drug discovery, with the machine learning, deep learning applications, with quantum computers, that's even going to be a better simulation of the chemistry that can happen with things like protein folding with deep learning. But add quantum computing to that, finding more drugs to help slow down the aging process and potentially reverse it as well. And I see in the comments as well, people think, second law of thermodynamics doesn't allow for immortality. Of course, you can still get hit by a bus, even if you have longevity escape velocity. And over time, that sort of damage is done through degradation. And
And
hopefully we can find a
that's
way
where
to.
you need a
That's right.
that's
And
where you
yeah,
need a
that's where
backup of
early
your brain
mortality.
somewhere else, and
Yeah, exactly. That's where you got to have
so you
your
avoid the
backup
hitting
somewhere.
the
You need lots of
exactly,
backups.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like that's also the thing. Like transhumanism just actually just allows us to think about things in terms of that nothing really seems to be impossible anymore. So like it's all just a question of when it actually can happen. Like it could totally happen that people could become immortal in terms of people could just be kind of revive back to life after getting hit by a bus or anything like that. So
Yes,
yeah, it's really hard to know what happens in 100, 200 years. Like so
Yeah,
many things
that's
can
right.
just occur if we just keep on fighting for it and just really open up for all these possibilities that we actually have for all of us.
Yeah, and I keep thinking
exactly,
back to that
exactly.
4-hour podcast from Stephen Wolfram, and it's just like it's a branchal space. Your consciousness could also be branching out with the quantum mechanics universe, right? It's like you have all these probabilities of being here and there, and your stream of consciousness could be interrupted here, but you can always go back to an earlier save and back to this other sort of version of yourself. So that'd be cool to see as well. It might be great as a video game.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is pretty impressive that it was a 4 hour podcast, but still you find it so fascinating and kept on holding your attention for that long. That is quite impressive, I'd say.
It's pretty hard. But no, it's just exciting
Yeah,
that it's just that all these. I feel like now is probably the most exciting time to be alive because there's breakthroughs in every industry, including physics, and we're at the tip of the iceberg in terms of where all that impact is going to have as well. So I can't wait personally to see it all come to life, along with Avinash, who's driving the actual implementation and development of these tools and technologies. So thanks
Hopefully,
for
hopefully, yeah.
again, yeah,
totally.
and
Yeah,
what time is
so
it over there, Andreas? Like, what's is it? It looks like was it early morning or?
it's actually a quarter to noon here.
Oh, good, good. Okay. I've got you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, mate. And yeah, I think it's amazing work at Immortalists Magazine. And I can't wait to catch up with the whole team as well. We can get Dr. Charles next time, and we'll get a few others from the Scientific Advisory Board and our dev team. It'd be great to have a catch up again.
Sounds great. Yeah, I really did appreciate it, your time here. And yeah, just where can people learn more about the whole project and you, or and are there actually any upcoming events or anything that you want to share with people? I know you had this bounty. Maybe you want to share some words on that or anything like those along those lines.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the bounty campaign, it's live now. So yeah, just check out our Telegram. Let me just share the link to the Telegram. It's t.me/transhuman by transhuman coin, t.me/by transhuman coin. So you can join the Telegram group and just see the latest that's been happening. It's just a constant thread of announcements and sort of great achievements from the team. So yeah, you'll also find out when the launch date for the NFT is going to be there as well. And yeah, you'll be able to see some of the meetups that we'll be hosting as well. Some awesome thing that we saw this morning as well. We've just put our Transhuman Coin logo in the New York Expo, Expo Metro, and it's like this massive canvas in New York, and we've got a little sort of Transhuman Coin logo on top of the other artists. That's going to also become one big NFT. That's sold off, and that's distributed to the artists as well. So I think that's going to be awesome to have a presence there. And great to see the New York mayor, accepting his salary in Bitcoin. Hopefully, we'll get him some transhuman coin as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Perfect. Yeah, it's been a really great time with you both, and yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all your knowledge. It's been really valuable. A lot of people and for me, and just to all of you out there, just thank you for watching to the very end. And if you enjoyed this interview, just please share it with the people that you love, and subscribe on our website, immortalistsmagazine.com, and to not miss out on other interviews, free magazine issues, blog posts, and much more. And both of you, just please take care and have a wonderful day or evening. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Andreas. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye,
Take care.
guys. Bye, everyone. Bye.